What's up, everybody? Matt Modi here with Jedi Modi Sports Betting. And what we're going to be doing in this video is I got 3 WNBA bangers for you guys to lock in. If you are new to my YouTube channel, would appreciate it if you could give me a like and subscribe. If you are returning, welcome back. I appreciate you. I will say the WNBA picks have been cold since I started giving them out. Definitely can't run away from that. We're 10 and 13 overall with a minus 3.42 units on these WNBA plays. So hopefully we can turn things around for this one, but just wanted to be upfront there. But let's chat about these 3 plays. So play number 1, we're taking the Sun -7, that is at minus 110 odds at DraftKings. So the Sun are playing the Storm in Seattle for this game, and the Storm are just so bad. Really, this is a play. I mean, the Sun are good, but this is really a play fading the Storm. The Storm are 7 and 20 on the season. That's really bad. And they have the second worst net rating in the entire WNBA on the season as a whole. Now, you might say, oh, well, they're at home. Do they get some sort of bonus being at home? The answer to that question is no. They're actually the worst team in the WNBA at home. And they're the worst by a mile, too. Their net rating, which remember, 0 is average. So anything positive means you're above average. Anything negative means you're below average. Their net rating at home is a minus 10.4, which is really bad. The next closest team, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, their net rating at home, the second worst, is at minus 8.1. And then the third worst is at minus 4.8. And then from there, they're all kind of bunched together in the middle. So minus 10.4 is brutal. And if you want to laugh, somehow within the past month, they are even worse on the road than they have been on the entire year. Since July 1st, they're 0-4 at home with a net rating of minus 17.2. Just laughably bad. And meanwhile, the Sun, they're pretty good. They're not as good as the Aces or the Liberty, but they're just a solid, good team. They have the third best net rating in the WNBA behind the 2 teams that I mentioned. On the road, they also have the third best net rating in the WNBA. And even if you look at the past month, you know, they're playing well recently. They're 8-3 in the past 11 games with a net rating of 6.8, which is pretty much where they've been the entire year. So the Storm are already bad. They're at home where they're bad, and they've been really bad recently, whereas the Sun have just been steady. So I like the Sun to cover the spread in this one, -7 at DraftKings as our first play. Next up, we're taking the Sky -3.5. That's minus 110 odds also at DraftKings. Now for this one, we are following a little bit of line movement. Spread opened up at the Sky -2, and it was very quickly bet up to where it is now at -3.5. Money still flowing in on the Sky, so there is still some value here at this number, just following the line movement on this one. And the Sky, you know, if you look at their entire season, they're definitely not one of the best teams in the WNBA, but if you look recently, and admittedly this is a small sample size, but they had a pretty gross loss to the Storm on July 28th. Since then, they've been on fire. Granted, that's only 3 games, but it was a really impressive 3-game winning streak. They trounced the worst team in the WNBA, aside from the Storm, in the Phoenix Mercury. And then their last 2 wins have been against the Dallas Wings, who are very good. Now, again, I do want to point out that this is a very small sample size, but in this 3-game stretch, they have a net rating of 16.1, which is the second best in the NBA, only behind the Liberty. So even ahead of the Aces. Now, again, that's 3 games, so don't want to put a ton of emphasis in that, but they are hot. The real reason why this is a play, though, is because we just love to fade the links. Looking, and this is according to Action Network, so I don't want to just totally steal this as my own, but looking at the WNBA Pythagorean theorem, which essentially measures how lucky a team is, it measures what your win percentage should be based on your point differential, and the Lynx are one of the luckiest teams in the WNBA. Now, the Sky are at home for this one, and as I've mentioned, they've been on fire, so I do like them to cover the 3.5-point spread. Next up, in our last pick of the evening, we are taking the Aces versus Wings game to go over 175.5, minus 108 odds at FanDuel. Now, I will admit this is a pretty high total, but there is some value here, right? We're getting it at 175.5. Every other book, as of right now, has this at 176 or 176.5, with those books juicing it towards the over. So we should beat the closing line value on this one. This is a positive expected value play. And the rationale behind this behind this going over is that this game is going to be an absolute track meet. The Wings play at the second fastest pace in the WNBA. The Aces play at the third fastest pace in the WNBA. Now, I normally don't love betting on recent trends, but these two teams did just play about a week ago, and the score was 195 total points. The Aces won 101 to 94. Just a ridiculous number of points scored, ridiculous amount of points scored in that game. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that it's going to be close to 200, but it probably will be closer to 180 than it will be 170. But what I care more about than the actual number of points scored in that game is the pace. Now, again, it's just a one-game sample size, but if both teams averaged the pace for the entire year that they played at in the last time that they played, they would play at the fastest pace in the WNBA, over 100 points in terms of the pace metric, according to the WNBA advanced stats. So very high pace here, two very good offenses. There should be a ton of points scored again. And I will say, just a side note here, I did want to take the Aces spread, but it was already bet up way too high. Even after getting smashed by the Liberty, the spread was just too high, so I sat that one out, just going with the over. But that's 3 plays for you guys to lock in. If you're riding, comment and let me know. Other than that, remember to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.